हरे कृष्ण। मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीति नामे नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणि विचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासुदेव गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण. This world is conscious world. It is not unconscious. That means nothing happens by chance here. Any small thing is happening. There is a very proper reason behind it, and nothing happens. This is very important for us to know. And this vision is there, then that is a personal way of looking at this world. And if we start looking in this way and we start seeing the hand of Lord, because that is the way we will understand. A person can never and cannot find himself outside the wider context. We can only find ourselves in context with God. Otherwise, we'll always be confused, not understand why I'm really, who really I am. That is not possible. For us, we need not go to Himalayas to do great tapasya to get the self-realization. The bhaktas, it is not needed. They just have to see the hand of Lord in this world. That itself will help them to get the self-realization, which is very difficult to obtain, and that's the reason people go to Himalayas and do very, very great austerities to get this one understanding that I am not the body, spirit, soul. That's all. For that, they have to do so much. And same with jnanis, they have to take sannyas and then read scriptures. We can achieve the same thing. But for that, we have very important way to look at this world, and that is what is makes us different from the materialistic people. What distinguishes the ordinary people and a Vaishnava, this is very important. An ordinary person, he looks and sees only the surface of things. He does not try to look deeper. But the spiritual reality that we can find ourselves inside our heart, in our consciousness, and in the consciousness of God, it is also represented outside. And to help us find the spiritual reality, Krishna himself comes in the visible and concrete form. That is actually the spiritual master. And it is said that it is given in Padma Purana also that how we should look at the spiritual master. A person should stop looking at spiritual master as an ordinary person. This is the first mistake made by an inexperienced person, because we were discussing yesterday also, like the acharyas are giving commentary or Prabhupada is writing commentaries and all. This is very important to know. He is not a common man. He feels when he accepts a spiritual master, we should also simultaneously make a vote to see how Krishna works through him. This is very important. Krishna is everywhere. He is in the heart of every living entity. But when someone living, when some living being or living entity, he decides to devote his whole life to the dissemination or training of spiritual knowledge, then Krishna himself starts to lead him through this. And this is the first thing we should understand. I must make the I must make when embarking on the spiritual path the vow of understanding how God addresses me through a spiritual master. So now we are getting instructions from spiritual master. It's Krishna only directly speaking to us because we don't want to hear. That is another problem. Even Krishna directly comes and gives. We say, oh, for Arjuna, Krishna told. Even Krishna comes and tells it is very difficult for us to accept. It is better to go through spiritual master. Even if we make here and there mistakes, he will consider and he will again give a chance. When we accept a spiritual master, we should simultaneously take this work that Krishna is working through. This is the first thing. And the second is Vaishnava Jati Buddhi. The second distinguished feature is that a Vaishnava should not look at other Vaishnavas as people who have some kind of material origin. This is a materialistic view, if you look, because people are judged by their qualities, by the qualities that they have in their mind, by their habits, by their body. But when we are taking initiation, a person must simultaneously make a vow, which consists in the fact that I do not judge other Vaishnavas from a material point of view. I try to see the soul in them because this is the meaning of the life of a Vaishnava. If you are talking about ordinary people, although in general it is not good to judge anyone, we should not judge anyone, but to some extent, we treat ordinary people as creatures that identify with the body and mind. But when it comes to Vaishnavas, we should not see in that way also. And the subject or purpose of their aspiration, that is very important. And this is what, and another thing that is very important for us is Arche Vishnu Shiladi. This is very important that a person with a superficial look will look at the divine or the deity in the temple or some kind of material object. This is again a mistake because Lord is agreeing to come and in a certain moment begin to communicate with all of us. If you understand that God who is in this form and he is giving us access, this is very important. Fourth, these are the six things that distinguishes a devotee and outside person. First is what I look at Vaishnavas, sorry, at spiritual master, Vaishnavas, deities. Then, then the fourth is when we take water and wash the deities. The water that wash God's feet, the water of Ganges, it is actually Charanamrit. It is not ordinary water because directly coming in contact with the Lord. And the last two differences misunderstanding that a person can make are when we take the holy name for an ordinary sound. And when we think that name of God is just a combination of material sound, and we think I can or one way or another dispose the name of God. So this is what people do mistake with the holy name. And when we practice chanting, especially the holy name reveals in our heart the depths of our attitude. And Vishnu Chakra Thakur says that it makes a comparison with a rich relative. He says that a rich relative can sometimes deprive us of his good deeds and sometimes generously give us the blessings. So it all depends on how we treat him or how we respect him. Similarly, the holy name also. How how careful we are with the holy name, it responds, it reciprocates. And there are some other nice, important things in this discussion also. We'll try to understand. Sudha Goswami says, my dear king, the cursing of the Brahmanas is only a plea, but actual fact was the supreme desire of Lord. He wanted to disappear from the face of earth after dispatching his excessively numerous family members. He thought to himself as follows. This is very important. How much, like in this world, we have different rasas. If you show little extra rasa, if you exhibit more vatsalya, then Madhurya will get affected. If you show little more Madhurya, Vatsalya is get affected. We cannot have all the rasas without any dispute. Like say, if a husband is showing more affection to wife, then mother will be upset. If he is showing more affection to mother, wife will be upset. So that means we cannot balance the rasas. But here, Lord It is one proof that even though he's having so many children, so many wives, so many relatives, they were all peaceful except for this one day where they fought among themselves and destroyed. But otherwise, Krishna never had any family issues. He is not bothered what is going to happen if I don't be there. And that regularly happens. If a person is not available in the office or any places, there will be so many disputes. People cannot work with each other. But in case of Dwarka and all these places, they are very happily doing. This is the speciality of the Lord because he can give himself completely 100%. The person is completely satisfied also. And it is quite inconceivable in this way only because the number itself is so big. How can some ordinary person handle it? And no, that itself proves that he is the Supreme Lord. The fact that he is able to manage 16,108 wives, according to rough estimations, Krishna is having so many wives. But the fact that he is able to manage this proves that he is not having any dispute in all these rasas. And the purport Prabhupada is writing. In this verse, the word Takshana is very significant in relation to Lord Krishna's leaving his body, since he is the eternal form of existence, knowledge, and bliss. His body and his self are identical. Now, why we have to read this again and again and again to fit into the system? Because we are we have some logic, and what always happens is because we didn't reach that simplicity, we always want logic to accept the truths. That's the reason acharyas have to give again and again so many such commentaries. If a person is very simple, like we have the story of a Brahman and a cobbler. When the cobbler was told that what is Lord doing, he is trying to fit a elephant through a needle's hole. He was quite happy to hear it, whereas the Brahmana could not accept it. Why? Because that is the simplicity that he has reached. Until we reach that simplicity of that faith, we need all these logics and arguments. Of course, even advanced devotees like if Rupa Goswami, they are also sitting and discussing. But for them, this type of discussions and reasons are for pleasure, for us to develop faith. For them, it is joy. Like once you know what is Krishna and whatever he does, it gives so much joy. Wow, he did this also, he did this also. But in a beginning level, all these things are needed to develop our faith more and more. Especially the Sambandha Jnana should be very clear. To the degree we have our Sambandha Jnana very strong, to the degree our quality of chanting improves. That is very proportionately connected. Sambandha Jnana is proportionately connected to our chanting. More we feel the connection with Krishna, it becomes very easy for us to chant his holy names. Yes, Mithis.
Prabhuji, just now you mentioned about simplicity, no, Prabhuji, accepting things. I mean, mind should be very simple to accept
And
faith. So that will come in gradually, is it, Prabhuji, as we progress, will our mind become so simple to accept everything as it is?
initially, we need some logic, and
Yes.
initially we need to come to that. But after one level, then we don't need any logics to accept these things. We accept because
Mm.
it is Krishna, and like
So for that, another nivritti has to be crossed, no, Prabhuji, because till the modes are there, we may be distracted like this, no, Prabhuji. Or
yeah,
is it not connected to like that?
need not be also. Somebody is very simple.
Oh.
He may have some
Mm.
anarthas also, but for him, he can happily continue. There need
Mm,
not be
mm,
anartha nivritti. That is because we are grown up in some very modern way. All these things are
mm,
holding us. Otherwise, it is
mm.
not. It is somebody is quite like in the villages. We sometimes go and preach. We tell chant Hare Krishna and not take this mala. Immediately they accept and they don't need any of this logic. And
But
somebody are sitting and
those
chanting
people, no,
every day 32
Prabhuji.
rods, 40 rods.
Prabhuji, but those people, someone else come and tell something, that also they will do, Prabhuji. That is the problem. Like, I can see that
Ah,
practically. I see some people take immediately, Prabhuji. Then within 1 month, they will be having Sai Baba photo in their profile DP, WhatsApp DP. I got shocked. How is then someone else approach these people like that? All there's a danger, no, Prabhuji, in like that. Like,
that's why I told Sambandha Jnana is also needed. If they are given little
mm,
Sambandha Jnana and then they accept it, many of them I have seen, like the mothers of some devotees or brahmacharis or some devotees, because their son is doing, and they told Mataji, now you chant, you should not worship anybody, only Krishna. They said, okay. And 32 rounds, 40 rounds, and sometimes whole day they are chanting only. So it is quite easy for them to take shelter of holy name, and they are quite simple people and they are fortunate in that way.
it means they would have finished this in previous lifetime, no, Prabhuji, because unless some Samandha Gyan of strong faith has to be done gradually. If someone accepts immediately, that means they have finished it previously, no, Prabhuji. Is it not like that?
Need not be, need not be. Like Prabhupada
Oh.
went to West, he gave somebody chant, and they
Mm.
accepted Prabhupada. They said, this person is whatever he is telling, I feel he is right.
Mm.
And then they continued.
Mm.
And
That is
Prabhupada
because of
mentioned
the
mainly one
mercy
time.
of the devotee. Devotee's mercy is there, Prabhuji,
Yeah,
in that.
devotee mercy is there for us also. Devotee
Mm.
mercy is there, Prabhupada's mercy is there for us also. Prabhupada's mercy is there for them also. Because they are simple, it became very easy for them. Because if a dry grass is there, it burns very fast. Wet grass, it takes time. Because their state of mind is like that, it becomes very easy for them to accept it and practice it and apply in their life, and they go very fast. That is one advantage for some people. If
Mm.
they are very from very scientific background, sometimes it becomes very tough also for them. But they have to read more and more logics, more and more books to come to the same level of faith which a simple person has. They're very
Mm.
learned, but the problem is they have read so much, they have understood so much. Now, for them to accept that this is a very simple thing. That's why Upanishads are there. Why Upanishads are there? Even though it is very simple truth, you have to tell in a such a complicated way in Upanishads because people's
Mm.
mindset are like that. Why you need so much complication of Upanishads? If Krishna is Supreme Lord, just accept it and chant the holy name. But they cannot do only. That is not possible for them. They need Upanishads, they have to read in that way. And then if they understand in that way, then they will feel very satisfied. Yes, now I came to the understanding that Krishna is Supreme Lord after reading all 108 Upanishads. We say, really? We could do it in just reading one chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We are convinced. One device, one 6 session course we attended and we are convinced. We don't need any of the Upanishads.
But
So,
still, Prabhuji, like we are seeing no Prabhuji, Balram Shakti Prabhu session, we are saying someone can take a bhakti only we collect sufficient Ajnata Shukriti, no Prabhuji. Otherwise, however we take, we cannot like, however,
Prabhupada, some acharyas, they can give Ajna Sutra in no time. It's not
yeah,
that they
yeah,
have to, they
yeah, yeah,
just,
Prabhuji, but
like a air
mm,
hostess, she took Mahaprasad from us, popcorn she ate
mm,
and finished, she became a devotee. So Ajnat
mm,
Sukriti can come in just one small service to a great Vaishnava also. Like his own name is
mm,
Jayapatak. So Jayanand Prabhu, he told, no, come and help me in making this card. And he told,
mm.
just hold this nail and he start beating. And he started, oh, you do such a nice service. He made them
Prabhuji,
do
those
service.
people are participating in the Leela, Prabhuji, like maybe the air hostess and all those people you're mentioning, it is just Leela sake, like it is happening. Prabhupada used to say, no, Prabhuji, all these people who are helping me now, or my Guru Maharaj is sending, like, we are all participating in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, no, Prabhuji. So,
Oh, like
they
Prabhupada
would,
said for Jayapatak Maharaj also that he is associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
yes,
But
yes,
not all.
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada said for many people,
Mm,
I made you qualified.
mm, mm.
Prabhupada told, what is our qualification? Prabhupada said, I made you qualified. And that is
Yes,
true
that is a
also.
final blow, no, Prabhuji. That is a final blow. Like the part to break, many hit are given, and Prabhupada is giving the final blow, no, Prabhuji. Maybe the blow is
Need not
heavy from
be.
Prabhupada.
From like
Oh,
Jagai Matai, do they have any Sukruti?
mm,
the animals in the forest are can do have no direct. So same thing,
mm,
Prabhupada also when he went, they are direct hippies. They don't have any
mm,
qualification. Prabhupada from -100, he made +100. That's all.
mm,
They are directly destined to hell. There is no option for them. Prabhupada just went and
mm,
somehow they felt some sort of attraction for Prabhupada that saved them. That's all. There is no chance that they had any Sukriti. If they have Sukriti, why they will be born in America? If you have Sukriti,
the
you should be
pastime
born.
part, pastime,
It is
like,
no, it not
mm,
some associates must be there, but not all. Otherwise, then that
mm,
is if all are associates, then there is no glory for Prabhupada. He just delivered already who are delivered.
mm, mm,
If
mm,
Prabhupada is coming and delivering his own people, then what is the point there? Prabhupada's
mm,
glory is because he went there and he went to not the people. There are only some people who are coming to assist him, but not. He has delivered many from sinful people who don't know
mm,
anything. They are
mm,
natures. They are Avanas. Prabhupada help them. It is Vaishnava can give them Sukriti and immediately elevate.
mm.
That is the truth. And we should
So
understand
then,
it in that way.
so first you discussed, Prabhuji, like on the qualities for Vaishnava. You discussed that the deity seeing the deities as Lord Himself, no, Prabhuji. Uh,
Yeah.
that should in that Prabhuji, like as of now, I could enjoy. I mean, I could see the Lord with his decoration is looking beautiful, all those things. But that reciprocation part and all, I couldn't see anything. And for myself, Prabhuji, is it how to get that Prabhuji, that mood of
Lord is reciprocating by giving you good association. Lord is reciprocating you, giving you make you understand the knowledge about Him. He is
that is there. Prabhuji. No,
reciprocating.
no, seeing the deities, Prabhuji, like when we see a deity as Lord. I couldn't see more than the beauty of the Lord Prabhuji. Anything else more than that, I couldn't see. That's what I'm asking. Anything else? What are we supposed to see in the Lord Himself standing there, Prabhuji? But since He is not in any action, no, Prabhuji, there. So that's what I always have
We,
this
we,
doubt.
we, we accept Him and we start serving. We don't actually. What happens is many people who are little quite sentimental.
Mm.
They want such reciprocations and they imagine also some reciprocations. We should
Oh.
not take them very seriously. For us,
Mm.
reciprocation is like when Ganesh was drinking milk, if you remember many years back.
Mm.
So then they in Chopati temple there is one Ganesh on the top of the temple. So
Mm.
brahmacharis they
Mm. Mm.
started putting milk to it. Then Maharaj said, what
Mm.
is happening? Why Maha cleaning and all they are doing climbing there? They said, no, we are trying to put Ganesh some milk, whether he will drink or not.
Mm.
And Maharaj said,
Mm.
what is so surprising about it? Every day Krishna is taking 6 times bhoga when you are offering.
Mm. Mm.
It,
Mm.
that means he is accepting already bhoga. So we need not
Mm.
have any proof in a sentimental way. It is directly
Mm.
when you are offering bhoga, is accepting. You are taking prasadam every day and it is purifying
Mm.
also. So that is a
Mm.
reciprocation he is giving. We will not be very
Mm.
sentimental and see
Mm.
that he has to give only. If you see acharyas, there will be very few stories of directly Krishna is coming and talking and all. They
Mm.
did not actually reveal so much. Even they may be
Mm.
talking every day also. Why? Because that will affect the people. They say, if I am advanced, means Krishna should directly talk to me. The deity should talk to me. They did not want to
Mm.
keep that as a standard.
Mm. Mm.
Prabhupada also did not any time, no, he did not say that Krishna is talking to me now. This deity spoke to me. Prabhupada never did that because that is quite uh, confusing and it looks quite sentimental. So they never kept that as a standard. If you're worshipping deity means deity should talk to you. He should look at the kitchen when you are cooking. He should turn his face towards the kitchen. You should come down the
Mhm.
altar. That type of things are not encouraged. Even if that happened, also very few stories. Like what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is glorifying about Madhavendra Prabhu is Krishna appeared 3 times in his dream. I was thinking,
Mhm.
what 3 times? At least he must be in Leela all the time, Leela Smaran. But Chaitanya
Mhm.
Mahaprabhu, 3 times Krishna came in his dream and personally spoke. That is a glorification. Means it should be very rarely Krishna coming and talking. It's a very rare
Yes.
things that happen. It should not be taken so cheap, and people should not be so sentimental. And if even if somebody tells such stories, except for Mayapur Jagannath and Narsingadev of Mayapur, we don't hear from. There will be some reciprocity. Like what happened is the devotees uh, they one Mataji they opened one temple in Russia, and
Mm.
suddenly after 1 week they got one Mataji, she got a call from India, and he said, "Arey, you kept that arrangement for some sandwich or something." And then
Mm.
the Jagannath is telling, "Why are you not offering? Offer it to me immediately." And then Mataji ran, and then she has to tell, then told the Pujari. Puja says, "Yes, yes, actually from 2 days I am thinking to offer, but somehow I was lazy." And then they
Mm.
immediately offered, and from that onwards, every day they're offering. So there are some rare
Mm.
instances. From India, she's getting a call.
Mm. Mm.
Mataji. And there are some places Lord reciprocates to show that I am there in this deity. But it will not be
Mm.
all the time, and we should not be very
We have heard
sentimental about
Prabhupada
it.
talking to deities occasionally, Prabhuji, like in a newly instructed temple when he goes. I heard two, three instances of like he is getting information from the deities.
Yeah,
Are
but
they
it is
taking care
not,
of
it is
you?
very rare. Prabhupada,
Very rarely,
yeah,
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada
Yeah.
is very rarely because he did not want people to
Mm.
take that as a standard and become very sentimental. Otherwise,
Correct,
everybody will say,
correct.
"My deities in the home are talking," and somebody feel insecure. My deities don't talk only. And then
Hare Krishna.
so
Hare Krishna.
maybe I'm not doing standard, and some others like so. There will be so many such problems. So that is not the standard.
Mm.
Especially these miracles and all is not the standard for us. For us, the standard is
Mm.
Krishna
Mm.
told is accepting. We need not have any proof.
Okay.
Our proof is Shastra only.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
According to Brahma Samhita, the Lord has many forms. There must be having huge Agyat Sukriti to their credit from the past. Need not be. Without Agyat Sukri also, people can be given Agyat Sukti by great Vaishnavas. Just the little service to a Vaishnava it becomes huge Agyat Sukriti for them. Just one look of a Vaishnava also can make somebody into a devotee. Ramanujacharya putting his Mahaprasad in the water and the fishes get four hands and they go to spiritual world. So it is very much possible. According to Brahma Samhita, the Lord has many forms. They said herein that the Lord has innumerable forms, and when He appears within the vision of the living entities, as Lord Krishna actually appears, all such forms amalgamate with Him. Besides all these infallible forms, He has His universal form as manifested before Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Here in this verse, the word Spurtim is also used, which indicates that he left this gigantic universal form called Virat Rupa, not his primeval eternal form, because there is hardly any possibility of his changing his form of Sachidananda. The simple understanding is at once realized by the devotees of the Lord that those who are non-devotees who perform hardly any devotional service to the Lord either do not understand this simple fact or purposely raise a controversy to defeat the eternity of the transcendental body of the Lord. This is due to the defect called the cheating propensity of the imperfect living entities. By practical experience, also, it is seen up to the present day that the Lord's transcendental form is worshipped by the devotees in different temples. And all the devotees of the Lord factually realize that the form of deity in the temple is non different from the Lord. This inconceivable performance of internal potency of the Lord is described in Bhagavad Gita, Naham Prakash Sarvasya Yogmaya Samavita. The Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone. In the Padma Purana it said, Atah Sri Krishna Nabhati na bhavet grahya nadir. The name and form of Lord cannot be perceived by the material senses. But when he appears within the vision of the mundane people, he assumes the form of Virat Rupa. This is an additional material exhibition of form and is supported by the logic of a subject and its adjective. And grammar, when an adjective is taken away from the subject it modifies does not change. Similarly, when the Lord quits his Virat Rupa, his eternal form does not change. Although there is no material difference between him and any of his innumerable forms, in the fifth canto it will be seen how the Lord is worshipped in different planets in his different forms, even now, and how he is worshipped in different temples of this earth also. And the Jiva Swami Shalishna Chakra has have very elaborately explained this incident of Lord's disappearance in their commentaries, quoting various authentic versions of Vedic literature. We purposely do not include them all here to avoid an increase in the volume of the book. The entire matter is explained in Bhagavad Gita as above, as quoted above. The Lord reserves the right of not being exposed. This is a very, very important point to remember that not everyone can understand Lord's appearance and disappearance. So if Lord is appearing and disappearing, it is quite confusing for a materialistic ordinary people. That should be very clear. That is the reason it is, and there is every reason for them to not to believe also, because it looks also quite ordinary and quite contradictory. Lord's activities, Lord's appearance, Lord's disappearance, they all look quite contradictory and quite ordinary also in some cases. And for them, there is every reason not to believe. That means all these reasons are given for us only, for devotees to help them develop that faith and come to a right understanding. That is the point. And he always keeps himself out of the vision of non-devotees. That means they will never understand only. So what is the point? These reasons and arguments are helping us to develop faith on Lord, who are devoid of love and devotion, and thus he puts them still further away from the Lord. The Lord appeared on the invitation of Brahma, who prayed before the Kshirodaksha Vishnu. And therefore, when the Lord appears, all the forms of Vishnu amalgamate with him. And when the mission was fulfilled, all of them disintegrate from him in the usual course. Now, for people to understand in a basic level also is very difficult. What to speak of such complicated Siddhanta and some complicated way. It's quite impossible for people to understand and reciprocate with the Lord. Only if somebody has love and devotion, they will be appreciating what activities Lord is doing. And some activities Lord does to help them, we discussed previously also, to help the materialistic people and atheists and all to go away from it. Because they have strong desire to go away from the Lord. Lord says, okay, fine with me. You can take these are the reasons. And he gives them intelligence also, and then he lives. अस्मालोकाद उपरते मयि ज्ञानं मदाश्रयम् हत्य उद्भवे एवा एवाध्वा सम्पत्य आत्मवताम्बरः. Now I shall leave the vision of this mundane world, and I see that Uddhava, the foremost of my devotee, is the only one who can be directly entrusted with knowledge about. Jnanam Madashtam is significant in this verse. The transcendental knowledge has three departmental divisions, namely knowledge of impersonal Brahman, knowledge of the all-pervading Supersoul, and knowledge of the personality of God. This is also important. We all understand that how you approach is absolute truth, that's how it responds. So if you approach the absolute truth through process of jnana, you will end up in Brahman. If you approach the yoga, you will get Paramatma relation. You approach as a devotee, then you will find the Shadaishwarya Purna Bhagavan. So the point is, same absolute truth, it responds according to the way we approach it. That's all. If you are approaching sun, you will find bright light. That's all if you go out. But if you go to sun planet, you will find the sun, right? Similarly, here also, it is same thing. The same impersonal knowledge, that is how the way you are approaching the absolute truth. Even the absolute truth is one, it is responding according to the our way of approaching it. That's all. Vadanti tat tattvatas tattvam yad jnanam advayam. The jnanam is advaya. It is non-dual. It is only one. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavani Shabdate is the way you are responding to it. It is also reciprocating. That should be very clear for us. One of the three transcendental knowledge of the personality Godhead has actual significance is the knowledge of Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana. Specific knowledge of the personality of God. This specific knowledge is realized by pure devotional service and no other means. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yava nischasmitat. Only persons engaged in devotional service can factually know the transcendental position of Lord. Uddhava was considered to be the best among all devotees of that time. Uh, and therefore, he was directly instructed by the Lord's grace so that people may take advantage of Uddhava's knowledge after the disappearance of God from the vision of world. This is one of the reasons why Uddhava's knowledge, Uddhava's knowledge after the disappearance of the Lord from the vision of the world. This is one of the reasons why Uddhava was advised to go to Badrikashram. But the Lord is personally represented by Naranara entity. One who is transcendentally advanced can gain direct inspiration from the temple deity, and thus the devotee of the Lord always take shelter of a recognized temple of the Lord in order to make tangible advancement in the transcendental knowledge by the grace of Lord. This is actually what is for us. We should take shelter of deities in the temple. That is the method that is recommended for all of us. And it says Uddhava is not inferior to me in any way because he is never affected by the modes of matter nature. Therefore, he may remain in this world in order to disseminate specific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. So the Lord is trying to, Lord has put so much faith on Uddhava because that is very important. Because there is always a chance of misrepresenting, and there is always a chance of diluting. But somebody who is so much trusted, like Prabhupada, so he could directly represent Krishna. That's the reason Krishna empowered him and he could do so much. So for us, what we should know, learn is chastity. We should learn chastity to the parampara, we should learn chastity to the knowledge which we are receiving. That means so much responsibility is there for us that now we are trusted and given this knowledge. And what is our duty is not to dilute it, not to uh, not to add something in, and keep it very pure. And not only keeping pure, practicing pure, and also helping others also practice pure. We should not dilute it. That is the greatest disservice we are doing if we are not uh, doing this activity. Like, so now we are such important, very important. Like, what is the greatest gift somebody can give is this knowledge for us. Because if you understand, maybe tomorrow we can discuss this again. Like, two reasons a living entity is suffering. One is because of attachment, one is lack of knowledge. Ignorance and attachment are cause of suffering. And when we do bhakti, two things will happen. We get jnana and we get vairagya. We get detachment from all the material things that are holding us, and the ignorance that is making us do wrong things, we will be free from it because we gain knowledge. So what we need actually is knowledge and detachment. And that comes when we do bhakti. So here we see that uh, now we are given so much help. Now it is our responsibility. Such a great responsibility is given to us by giving this knowledge. What Krishna is telling Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita is that, oh, Sakalene Mahata Yogo Nashta Parantab. In due course of time, this knowledge is lost. We should not be the cause of loss of this knowledge. At least we should not be the cause of diluting it. We should practice it purely, no mixture of jnana and karma in our bhakti. Practice purely, teach purely, help others also practice purely. So that's why, like Balram Shakti Prabhu, again and again, why he's telling we don't need to do any karma, we don't need to do any jnana, we don't need to do any varnashram dharma. Why again and again? Because it is a possibility of diluting it. That is why We have to again and again. And everywhere, if you see Bhagavatam, what is speciality of Bhagavatam is it is trying to give, it is always telling what is not bhakti, what is not bhakti, what is not bhakti. That is the method Bhagavatam uses to explain bhakti also in many ways. That is the method. If you see the second shloka of Bhagavatam 1.2, 1.1.2, Dharma projita kaita uttara paramo nirmatsaranasam. It is projita kaita. All the kaitava dharmas are removed. That is a method that is used to explain what? Vasta Vastu. The method that is used by Bhagavatam to explain the Vasta Vastu is it is removing all the unwanted things. Now our responsibility is to see that we don't dilute anything. We just follow strictly this method. The responsibility, at least I should not be the cause of yoga nashta parantam. I should not be the cause of diluting it. I should purely understand it properly, practice it properly. That is the responsibility we all have. And in that way, we can make so much, we'll do a good service. Otherwise, such important knowledge is given and then I lost it. It's a disservice to our acharyas. We should learn it properly, apply it properly, and teach also in that way. And what happens, why people dilute? Because they want to make followers. If you dilute, you get more followers. But Prabhupada, when he was told Prabhupada, you can reduce instead of three regular means four, you can make three, you'll get millions of followers. Prabhupada said, no, I want only pure people. We also need somebody who's purely practicing. We don't need to go for number. We have to go for, and it is very easy also. Life is very easy if you practice pure devotional service compared to any mixture because you have to impress people. In pure devotional service, you need not impress people. You have to impress only one person, that is Krishna. And to impress Krishna, we just have to practice pure devotion. Like I have to just speak what is truth. I need not make up any new things. It becomes very easy. Life is after understanding these pure principles, life became very easy for me also. Like previously, I was thinking, oh, we should do so many videos and this that, so many here there we have to preach. I understood no, there are very few people who will take up to pure devotional service. Just focus on them. Try to help them understand pure devotional principles and make them advance in Krishna consciousness. We just have to look for people who are interested in pure devotional principles and try to help them and discuss with them, be with them. And their association will also one way a protection for all of us because they'll always be in that mood and help us to focus. Other it's very difficult. So the way Bhagavatam explains is always teaching what is not bhakti also many times. And this is very, very important for us. And another is the responsibility that is given to us by giving this knowledge. Such a important Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam. This is a very, very confidential knowledge that is given to us. And there is always opportunity to manipulate and dilute and then mix with something else. No, we should not do it. And here Prabhupada is writing the specific qualification for becoming the representative of Lord is to be unaffected by material modes of nature. The highest qualification of a person in the material world is to be a Brahmana. But since a Brahmana is in the mode of goodness, to be a Brahmana is not sufficient to become the representative of Lord. One has to transcend the mode of goodness also and be situated in unalloyed goodness, unaffected by any of the qualities of material nature. This stage of transcendental qualification is called Shuddha Sattva or Vasudheva. And it is in this stage the science of God can be realized. That means this is direct knowledge. Now what we get is prat- um, we get paroksha gyan, that is pratyaksha, directly see. You directly see the Lord. That is the level of knowledge a person gets. Drishta evatman ishware. So when when nashta prayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavat seva. Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. तथा राजस्तमो भावः कामलोभादेश्च चेतयते नामतिं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसदे एवं प्रसन्न मनसो भगवद्भक्ति योगतः भगवत तत्व विज्ञानम मुक्त संग से जायते. So this is actually the method. When विद्यते हृदय गंधिस चिंदन्ते सर्व संशय चीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनेश्वरे विद्यते हृदय गंधिस when all the attachments. So Two reasons we are unhappy. One, what is that? Because of our attachment. Second, because of ignorance. Right? Ignorance, we need knowledge. For attachment, we need vairagya. So when we practice bhakti, vidyate hridaya gridis, all the attachments are cut. Chinnante sarva samshaya, all the doubts. That means ignorance is lost. Chiyante chasya karmani. Then what happens? All the karma that we have accumulated, that is also gone. And drifta evatmanisha. Then we are able to see the Lord directly face to face. That is what is we all want to achieve. So वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजितः जनयति आसु वैराग्यम ज्ञानम च दहेतुकम. When we do bhakti, ahaitukam bhakti we do, what happens? Jnanam and vairagya, they are byproduct. No need of separately cultivating only. They automatically come. The detachment will come, the knowledge will come. The reason why we are doing wrong activity is ignorance. The reason we are unhappy is ignorance. And another is because of attachment. The wrong identification of ourselves makes us attached to this material world. Because I'm identifying myself with the body, I'm identifying with the family member, I start identifying with my family members, my house, my family, my relatives. This is the cause of our unhappiness, right? And this unhappiness, we need to come out of it. And that's why we need detachment. And that's why we need knowledge. So both are such an important thing. And bhakti is giving it free. Take it. Just to serve Krishna Hai Tuki Bhakti, and both will get. And this is what is the success we'll achieve by doing bhakti. Prabhupada is writing nice verse. The Lord is not affected by the modes of nature. So a pure devotee of Lord is also not affected by modes of nature. That is the primary qualification of being one with the Lord. A person who is able to attain this transcendental qualification is called Jivan Mukta or liberated. Even though he is apparently in the material condition, this liberation is achieved by one who constantly engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, what is liberation basically means? Liberation means free from bondage. Even though he is with family, he is with all the activities, but he is not affected by them. The shloka says, Iha yasya hare dase karmana manasa gira nikilas api avastashu jivan muktasya uchati. Anyone who by his actions, mind, and words lives only for the transcendental loving service of the Lord is certainly a liberated soul. Even though he may appear to be in a condition of material existence, Uddhava was in such a transcendental position, and thus he was selected by the factual representative of the Lord in his bodily absence from the vision of the world. Such a devotee of Lord is never affected by material strength, intelligence, or even renunciation. So this is what is a spiritual master we discuss. Completely under control of Lord. Such a devotee of Lord can withstand all onslaughts of material nature, therefore is known as Goswami. Only such Goswami can penetrate the mysteries of Lord's transcendental loving relationships. It says Sudeva Goswami informed the king that Uddhava, being thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of God, who is the source of all Vedic knowledge, spiritual master of three worlds, reached the pilgrimage site of Badrikashram and engaged himself there in the trance to satisfy the Lord. And just read this. Good. Lord Sri Krishna is factually the spiritual master of three worlds, and is the original source of all Vedic knowledge. It is very difficult, however, to understand the personal feature of the absolute truth even from the Vedas. His personal instructions are needed in order to understand the personality of God as a personal absolute truth. Bhagavad Gita in the evidence is the evidence of such transcendental knowledge in just cannot know the Supreme Lord unless one is graced by the Lord Himself. Lord Krishna exhibits a specific message towards Arjuna and Uddhava while he was in the material world. Undoubtedly, Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to encourage Arjuna to fight. And yet, he had to complete the transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Lord instructed Uddhava. So, whatever Bhagavad Gita Krishna did not tell, he told to Uddhava in Uddhava Gita. The Lord wanted Uddhava to fulfill his mission and disseminate knowledge which he has not spoken in Bhagavad Gita. Persons who are attached to the words of Vedas may also know from this verse that the Lord is source of all Vedic knowledge. One who is unable to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by going through the pages of Vedas may take shelter of Lord's devotees such as Uddhava in order to advance further in knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma Samhita says that it is very difficult to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead on the Vedas, but is easily understood from a pure devotee like Uddhava. Taking mercy on the great sages who lived in Badrikashram, Lord authorized Uddhava to speak on his behalf. Unless one has such authorization, one cannot understand and praise the devotional service of the Lord. We will discuss more on this when complete this period. While present on this earth, the Lord executed many uncommon activities, such even traveling in space to bring down the Parijata from the heaven and receiving the son of his teacher Sandipan Muni from the regions of death. Buddha was certainly informed of the conditions of life on other planets, and all the sages were anxious to know of them, just as we are anxious to know about the planets in space. Buddha was particularly deputed to carry a message to the Badrika Ashrama, not only to the sages of that place of pilgrimage, but also to Naranarayan deities. Such a message may have been more confidential than the knowledge described in the pages of Vedas. The Lord is undoubtedly the source of all knowledge, and the message dispatched through Uddhava to Naranarayana and other sages were also part of the Vedic knowledge, but they are more confidential and could be sent or understood only through such a pure devotees as Uddhava. Since such confidential knowledge was known only to the Lord and Uddhava, it is said that Uddhava was as good as the Lord himself. Every living entity can, like Uddhava, also become a confidential messenger on the same level of as the Lord, provided he becomes confidential himself by dint of loving devotional service. Such confidential knowledge is entrusted as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita only to pure devotees like Uddhava and Arjuna, and one has to learn the mystery through them and not otherwise. One cannot understand Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam without the help of such a confidential devotees of Lord. And accordingly to this to Srila Vishnu Chakra Thakur, that confidential message must have concerned the mystery of his departure and the annihilation of his dynasty after the end of his appearance in the Mandal world for 100 years. Everyone must have been anxious to know about the mystery of the annihilation of Hindu dynasty, and that message must have been explained by the Lord to the word dispatched to Badrikashram for the information of Naranara and other pure devotees. So why Naranarayana? Because he is the Lord for this Bharatavarsha. So that's it. So we have four more verses. We'll complete it tomorrow. Thank you all very much. Trantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Shiva Prabhupada ki Jai. Any questions, comments? We'll end here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.